All right, greetings, y'all. Gio Pensano here, and in this little short live stream today, I want to talk to you about getting clients, and getting clients like now, because that's a pretty good thing to do. And one of the problems that I often see people run into when it comes to getting clients that really kind of bogs them down, and it's a problem I'm hoping to solve today if you have that problem, which is this, that we can really overcomplicate and overthink this whole process of getting clients. And in particular, I like to simplify the process of getting a high-ticket clients, like your ideal clients, the ones that really love what you do, and they really have a problem to solve, like kind of a big problem to solve, and they've got the means to solve it. So in this short live stream today, I want to give you some real simple ways that you can get those clients and attract them to you in a very real way, in the fastest way. We want to simplify it for you. And I am down here right now in Playa del Carmen. I am stuck here in this little paradise for a few more days before I go back to Scottsdale, Arizona. And I've been really connecting to the health and wellness community here. And like my friends here at the ice bath that they do here on the beach in Playa del Carmen. My friend Kevin, he puts on these ice baths. I think he does them 4 days a week. And they vary depending on, the day and all that. But man, it's kind of like a group program in terms of he's not just doing one client. And he's doing kind of a group of them. Sometimes there's 5, sometimes there's 10, sometimes there's like 15. And I love what he's doing for a couple of reasons, because first thing is he's doing what he loves. It's pretty clear. And who would not love, offering ice baths, to people on the beach in Playa del Carmen for about an hour and a half every morning, and making a nice little living from it. That's the magic of group programs. The other kind of community that I've connected to, and this is actually kind of a little secret, we'll talk about this a little bit in the live stream, which is building community and getting over this whole thing about competition and realizing that one of the ways that clients come to you, and we hear people say this, right, is through referrals, but that is not an inactive process. It's an active process. And so through Kevin's activity, through what he's done, he's built some relationships here with the Hamama yoga studio, and so I got the benefit of discovering that studio, and Hamama has gotten the benefit of my business, and I just love that. So that's what's kind of going on here in Playa del Carmen, and the continuation of that is after I went to yoga yesterday, I needed a little juice and a little pick-me-up, so I went to this place right around the corner from Hamama, which serves conscious food. And man, this beautiful chef here who is so dedicated to her craft and makes this beautiful spread. And oh man, did I benefit from it. But let's jump back on into what we're talking about today, which is kind of bringing clarity and ease to this whole process of getting clients, and also kind of shortening the time, because sometimes we're like, man, I need a client like today. I need some clients now. And one of the things that happened to me while I'm down here in Playa del Carmen is we've got a lot of people selling stuff. I love how these Mexican entrepreneurs work, because they're not afraid of selling things. They're not afraid of just asking, would you like this thing? And I don't find them to be pestering at all, and maybe that's just because of my temperament. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I don't mind it when somebody comes up to me and says, hey, do you want this thing? What I don't like is I don't like people pleading and begging. I don't like to see people playing the victim. I like to see people being confident in what they do and in what they offer. And so the model for this is this young girl here who I have now become a customer of, and she's kind of become our lesson and the leader in this conversation today. Because this little girl, she sells bracelets to people all around Playa del Carmen. And I didn't realize this, but I've become a repeat customer of her. The first time that she come up to me, I'm having dinner with a friend of mine at a little beachfront little restaurant there. We're sitting there with our feet in the sand, and she comes on up to us, and we're kind of having a little conversation. And so I wasn't so open to it, and also I was kind of new to the area, and so I'm still figuring out, like, how much is a peso, how much is 100 pesos. And she comes up, with her confident little way, and with her Spanish. She does not speak English, as far as I know. And she says, do you want some bracelets, in her Spanish? And my friend is like, no, no gracias. And, I had had a drink or two by that time, so I'm kind of relaxed. And I'm like, oh, maybe. How much are they? Cuánto costa? How much are they? And she's like, 100 pesos. And again, I hadn't really figured out the peso. I'm like, 100? 100 pesos? That sounds like a lot. And so I said, well, how about 50 pesos? And she thinks to herself, and then she goes, she kind of goes away for a minute. She goes to talk to her mom and to find out if that was okay or not. She comes back a little bit later, and sure enough, it's okay. So I give her 50 pesos, which turns out to be about $2.50, and I got my first bracelet. And she comes back into my life once again. I'm having dinner now by myself one night, and she's doing the same thing, but in a different part of town. And I come to realize that this little 8-year-old girl has the direct marketing and sales thing down. At 8 years old, she has no fear of going up to strangers, even though she don't speak English. She has no fear of going directly to her ideal clients and just asking, hey, would you like one? And she, like I said, she does not pester, but she comes up and says, would you like one? So again, the second time I didn't recognize her right away, and I had just sat down, so I'm like, no gracias, no gracias. And so again, I have a drink or two, and I'm kind of relaxed now. And she kind of comes back around again. And again, she's not pestering. She's just like sweet. You can look at her face. She's the sweetest little girl, 8 years old, and she's got the direct marketing and sales thing down. So let's learn a lesson from her. She goes, again, not pestering me, but just real simply, hey, do you want one? And by this time, it's about 10 or 15 minutes later, and I'd had a drink and I'd had enough time to order my food and to relax. So by this time, I'm like, I got a little space, to entertain this little disruption in my experience here, and I kind of welcomed it. And I'm like, okay, let me check it on out. And I'm like, how much are they? And she's like, 100 pesos. And by now, I figured out 100 pesos is like $5. And, she's super sweet. Look at her. And I'm like, okay, I'll take one. And so now I'm a repeat customer. I'm talking to a global audience about this little girl's business. And I did a little bit of math on it as well. And the math that I did was that she's making a pretty nice little living selling these bracelets. And I know her mom is supporting her because her mom's nearby selling her stuff and things. But the reason why I'm talking about it not is only because it's super cute and it's very heartfelt, but she's got a successful little enterprise. And, she's got no business plan. She's got no English. She don't need a loan. She's just got a product, and she's got a few things. what she has going for her, and the reason why she's being quite successful, I did a little math on it, and she's making somewhere between 50 and $100 a night as an 8-year-old girl. And the reason why it's working out for her, and this is, our lesson, is that she's going to where her ideal clients are. She's fortunate that she lives here in Playa del Carmen because, there's just a lot of people here. I mean, there's a lot of people here, and the people that come here, they have money. And so that's the first lesson, is going to where your clients are. And offering them directly what it is that you have to offer, and not creating a lot of static and barriers to make that happen. Because the frustrations that we run into, and you may be able to relate to this, is there's a lot of things that we could get bogged down in and spend our time on, like creating lead magnets, and thinking we need to update our website, or that we need to do a webinar, or maybe you're in the health and wellness field and you're like, oh, I got to have a healing center before I can enroll my clients, or I got to have the perfect location in order to work with a client. And the problem with that is it causes delay. And if you need clients and you need to have a steady source of income, what I'm sharing with you is to do what this 8-year-old girl is doing, which is to go directly to your clients, where they're located, where your ideal clients are located, both physically, like you could go to physical geographic locations, or you can go online. And I'm going to tell you how to do that here in just a minute. Because what we really want is, it'd be nice, don't you agree with me? Leave a comment down below. Wouldn't it just be nice just to get a client, just to get paid for what you do, and to get all the, other things out of the way? Like all the things that frustrate us, like, oh, I got to create a lead magnet, I got to do a webinar, I got to figure out, I got to hire somebody to build my website. And I'm not saying those things are not valuable, but this is what I'm saying. Is if you're doing less than $10,000 a month, then you don't need any of those things. Maybe, yes, you need a simple website because people want to know that you're for real. And there's about 3 pages of a website that's really important, because people do want to check and see, hey, are you for real? Have you spent any time thinking about what you do? And a website, a real simple one, fills that, fills that gap. But what we really want is a simple and direct way to go directly to where our clients are and to make an offer. And we want to do what this little girl is doing, is that we want to figure out this process, and I'm going to give you some very specific ways to do it here in just a minute. And we want to do it consistently. Like this little girl, the reason why she's making between $50 and $100 a day as an 8-year-old girl is that she's doing it every day. Like I said, now I've come to recognize, I don't know if she does it every day or not, but I've seen her now 2 real busy nights of the week when all the clients are out, and she goes right to where they are. They're sitting at a restaurant. She goes right on over to them and just says, hey, do you want what I've got here? And that is the thing to do. If you're either just starting out, or you've got a practice that you've been doing for a while, but you're struggling to get some clients in, and you're making less than 10 grand a month, the fastest way to fill that void and to eliminate all the frustrations of all these barriers that get in the way is just to do what I'm about to tell you to do on a consistent basis. And again, this little girl is the model because she's got it figured out. And so the mistakes that people make is getting bogged down in technology. Like I said, thinking that you need a lead magnet or that you need to do a webinar. And I'm not saying that those things are not important, but again, what I'm saying is that if you only have a small email list or a very small social media following, say you've got less than 1,000 people on your email list or less than 1,000 people of ideal clients in your social media following, then that is not the way. Lead magnets are not going to do the trick for you because you don't have enough eyeballs on it, because the problem with internet marketing is that the conversion rate is very small. And again, this little girl at the restaurant that I was in, she's probably talking to, I'm going to say, between 5 and 10 people every time she stops into a restaurant. She's talking to them directly. And so what I could see with my eyes is that at each restaurant, she's getting a lot of no's or no gracias, and she's also getting sales. And she's getting about 3 sales per little area that I could see her doing it in, a little area that I'm watching in. So that's about $15 every time she makes a little stop off. And you can see from her face that she's having success. This is not a girl that is feeling dejected and rejected. And the only reason why typically we feel dejected and rejected is if we're not being successful with what we're doing. And so going directly to where your ideal clients are located, that's the first key. I call it the law of proximity. So this is the first thing that I want you to do, is to get out a piece of paper and write down who is your ideal client, who's the people that that really have the problem that you solve for them. And if you haven't, figured out your niche yet, then I'd definitely recommend you to message me, and let's set up a time to talk about that, because until you know that or have some clarity around it, sometimes there's a guessing piece at the beginning, but until you got clarity about it, you don't really know where to go. Like that little girl, she's not going to the poor side of town and door knocking. She's going to where people have money, where they're having fun, and where they don't, $5 is like nothing, right? She's not going to the poor section of town. She's not begging. She's being successful by going to the place where her ideal clients are located. So you got to know and ask yourself, write down, who are your ideal clients? What's the problem you solve for them? Get that figured out. Hopefully you already got that figured out. If you don't, message me. Let's get a time to get that figured out, because we could do that in a real short period of time. But the first thing to really do is to make a list of where your clients are located. And when I say that geographically, like, where would they be? You know who your ideal clients are. Where would they be geographically? Are there groups? Groups are the best place. Network groups. Where are they going to? If you're helping business people, go to a business networking event. If you're helping people with health and wellness, well, network around those other health and wellness businesses, like my friend Kevin with the ice bath. And, they're all supporting each other, because the people who are looking for health and wellness are not just looking for one thing. They're looking for ice baths, yoga, good food, and in any of those physical geographic locations in that restaurant where Kevin's ice bath is located, I went there and found a couple of super good clients for myself, or potential clients. They haven't become clients yet, but people who are in the health and wellness field are who I help. I help them to grow their business. And so where is that location geographically? Networking groups, other businesses that are doing events. Just show up. Just like that little girl, just show up. And you can do that live in live events. The other place is online. Same concept. Online, there's groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, where your ideal clients are gathered. And again, if they're business people, do you help business people with some kind of health and wellness issue? Well, go on over to those business groups where guys and gals are up to big things and they got some health challenges, and join the conversation. And that's the second thing, or is there the 1A thing I want you to do? Make a list of the Physical kind of groups you could go to in your area. You could Google it online. What's the physical groups that are located in your area? Meetup.com is a good place to look. Eventbrite groups, a good place to go check out. And then just think yourself, what is it, where do people gathering? And then groups online. So Facebook groups would be the place. They're just like a physical networking group. And the key to both of those things is to engage. Don't be a wallflower, and the way you engage is by adding value first and starting a conversation. And then the next piece to it is, how do I actually get them clients? So you got to show up first thing. You got to figure out where they are. You got to show up, and then you got to add value. You got to start conversations. And one of the ways you could start a conversation, maybe this might not be the very first question, or could be, is to ask the question, do you know anybody that needs this thing that I have? And you got to be clear on what the thing is that you have, what it's called, and that's the nuance to it. But this is how you can get clients like that. And I'm not talking about clients to pay for some $100 program or whatever it is. I'm talking about clients that really got a problem that they want to solve. And clients who are up to big things, who overcoming that problem is valuable to them, those are what we call high-ticket clients. They don't want some cheap thing. They don't want, they want a solution to the problem. And so you show up in those places and, just start mingling. And it's a little bit, think about like, I don't know if you remember back in the day, what did they have that show, Friends? And it was the bar where everybody knows your name. And that's kind of what you want to do in terms of consistently showing up in the locations. Like that little girl, like I said, now I've come to recognize her. And I'm talking about her now to you. And you're probably going to be talking about her to other people as well. And I had a friend of mine on Facebook. I shared a little story about her. And she said, hey, would you buy some for me? And that's how it works, my friends. It's called direct sales and marketing. And if you've never had the opportunity to do it, and you need some help with it, I want you to reach out to me and say, hey, Gio, send me a little messenger thing and say, I need some help with that. Because, I understand that not everybody has been as fortunate as this little girl is to be, guided by her family clearly. I'm sure they have the need, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. And having a need, having a hunger is a good thing. So don't take that away from people, and don't feel sorry for people that have a need. That need, maybe you have that need. Hunger is what drives us and causes us to take action. Again, look at the look on that little girl's face. She is so happy because she's getting results. So the consistency is real key, because then people will start to recognize you. Maybe you show up at that networking event or in a Facebook group at first and you're like, I don't know what to say. Well, just keep showing up and you're going to figure out what to say pretty soon. And people are actually going to be like, hey, I saw you before. And, the first time you're going to feel a little weird. You're going to feel like an outsider. You're going to be like, oh, man, everybody's thinking I'm trying to sell them something. Well, just get over it, okay, my friends? Just get over it. Think about this little 8-year-old girl. And, again, she's fortunate because she is, in the situation where she's gotten over it at 8 years old. And I had the same fortunate myself. I didn't grow up in a rich family, but I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, just like this little girl. That's why I can relate to her. We had a candy store, and at 8 years old, I'm doing what she's doing. I'm selling the candy. in the ideal location where people wanted it. So it was not a hard sale. And not everybody said yes. And not everybody says yes to this little girl. I think I'd love to do a little chart on what her closing rate is, because she probably gets 3 out of 10. She probably talks to 10 people, 7 say no, and 3 say yes. That's $15 to every 10 people she talks to. So I want you to, kind of continue to think about this little girl when you go on to do what you're doing, because we can learn a lot from her, and hopefully you are learning a lot. So remember, direct sales and marketing. That is the fastest way to get clients. And no, you don't need to door knock and cold call. Show up where they're already located, because they're already gathered in groups, networking groups, and geographic locations in your area. So go to those places, or go to the businesses where you're kind of like your peers. Like I said, with the ice baths, he's got his peers both helping him out in the yoga field and the conscious food field, and that is creating a synergy for everybody, and that's where the clients are. And so remember that, and just go show up where they're located, and you will amaze yourself. And maybe some of the last things that I'll leave you with is, if you want to get a high ticket client, and I say anything over $2,000 to me is what I would call in the category of a high ticket client. Let's say you got somebody who is overweight, and maybe they're either diabetic or pre-diabetic, and maybe their energy is in the crapper, and they could they got so much brain fog they could barely do their work, and their work is important to them, and their work is a source of a high net worth income, but they're in the crapper for whatever health and wellness reason. Well, how important do you think a solution to that problem is to that kind of person? So that's what I talk about when I say go to your ideal clients, and don't give them a little small offer. Give them the full package. And that full package is typically going to be a high ticket offer, at least a $2,000 solution. It's going to be a chunk of time you're going to spend with them. It's going to be a bunch of things you bring together, for them. And again, if you need help to figure these things out, just message me, and we'll get together and kind of map this out for you, because like I said in the beginning, and I've been my central theme here, is we overcomplicate things. We overcomplicate things so much, and that's what gets in our way. And then somebody like me comes along and says, all you got to do is just go directly to where your clients are. And what do people say to me sometimes? They're like, oh, but no, I got to create my, first I got to, first I got to do this, first I got to create a wellness center, first I got to have the perfect location, first I got to have a lead magnet, first I got to have you don't need any of those things. If you're doing less than 10 grand a month, what I just recommend to you, take this advice or, resist it, is you just need a few high ticket clients. Well, let's say you're doing a $2,000 program or a $3,000 program. $3,000 program is a nice price point. You need 3 clients. And the fastest way to get them is to go directly to where they are and become known in that group, in that space. Craft a very clear offer that describes the result, the value that you bring, and just say, hey, do you know anybody that has this problem and would like to get the solution for it? Do you know anybody that fill in the blank is looking for, fill in the blank, and show up consistently? Do what this little girl, is doing. Don't be afraid of being rejected. Rejection is a great thing, because if you don't take it personally and you don't shrink back, you can learn a lot from it, because that's how you learn. That's how you craft a good offer. You find out when people say to you, maybe, what they're really saying is they are saying, it's not clear what it is that you can do for me. I'm not clear about what you do. And that's really what they're saying. So just kind of continue on and use it to help you figure out what is it that people really want, and who are your ideal clients, and where they're located. And then you just rinse and repeat. You go back there, and before you know it, my friends, you will have a consistent $10,000 stream of income coming to you by adding 2 or 3 clients per month into your practice. And, if that seems like a crazy thing to you, then that's okay. I understand, depending on your perspective, like if you have very little or you have nothing or whatever the case may be, it's often in contrast. Like if you're doing 10 grand a month, you're like, dang, dude, I don't need 10 grand a month. I need 100 grand a month. Because you're already doing it. But if you're doing, a grand a month, or you're really scraping by and you're having to do a second job, it might seem a little preposterous what I'm saying, and that's okay, my friends. Put your disbelief aside, and if you need any help with this, reach on out to me with a message and say, I'd like to talk to you. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is there is some nuance to everything that I'm talking about here, and the nuance being, who is your ideal client? Where are they located? What's the value of what you do? And those three things create clarity. And once you have that clarity, everything else becomes so easy. And it becomes easy because you know who they are, you know where they're located, you have clarity statements to say to them, and then everything will cascade from there. And the last thing I'll leave you with, again, if you need help with this, I have a very simple program. It's a case study program, and if you'd like to learn more about it in this case study program, what I do is I help people to figure those things out very quickly. And it's a very low cost investment for this program, and it will fill in all the gaps that we've been talking about, and a lot more. If you have a lack of clarity about who your ideal client is and where they're located, those are the very first things to figure out. Once you figure those out, what happens is that you build confidence because you know what it is that you're selling, you know where your clients are located, and people will be like, oh, you show up there and they're like, hey, I've been looking for what it is that you're offering, and you're going to be like that little girl. You're going to have a big smile on your face because you're going to have success. And the success that I like to help people get to in this case study program is the basic foundation of a successful practice, which is 10 grand a month. That's what is generally required to have a reasonable level of living standard in most parts of the world. Some parts of the world you could get by with a little bit less than that, but 10 grand is about what will give you the freedom to do what you love to do and to be supported. And if you would like to get more information about that, just comment down below here, case study. Just say, hey, case study, and I'll reach out to you and we'll get on a little chat call and chat about where you're at and what you really need help with. So if you found it useful today, let me know in the comments. If you're interested in the case study, comment case study. If you found other things that really kind of sparked your imagination in terms of learning from that little 8-year-old girl what you could do, leave a comment and let's kind of share that, because in community is how we learn best. And by showing up and engaging is the magic that really makes it happen. And so I encourage you to leave a comment down below. If you're interested in the case study program, leave a comment, case study, and I'll reach out to you and we'll have a chat about it. And if there's things real specific that you learned, leave those in the comment below, and we're kind of going to engage as a community to help you create a successful health and wellness practice that not only supports you, but the people that you're here to serve. So that's what I got